And the costs of having too many people doing too many things in terms of staff and accountants and disclosures, which I signed. I relied too much on staff, which, in my opinion, falls far below the standard that I set for members of Congress. It was wrong, it was a mistake, and there's no question I was prepared then and now not to blame anyone but myself for the mistakes that I've made as it relates to disclosures. But I think history would show that a different standard has been used in this case, where I did not curse out the speaker, I have not tried to have sex with minors, I did not steal any money, I tried to help City College, and it's been hard for me to get some of the people in the press to state that out of the 13 charges, 7 of them are related to one event. And you don't have to be a lawyer to say that if you have no intent to violate the House rule as it relates to encouraging people to make donations to charities, which is perfectly legal if you follow the rules. But if you break the rules and think, as I did, that it was official for me to try to get resources, not for me, but public resources, for a public institution to encourage education. That one big mistake caused me, of course, to send out letters on my stationery, get staff to get the names of foundations that were concerned with the educational project, and not to ask them for money, but you bet your life, encourage them to meet with the people at City College. As for the ego in doing this because I wanted an institution named after me, if you photographers have enough film left, I wish you'd go to 141st Street and Convent Avenue, where this institution would have bared my name. It's a broken down, abandoned for over 15 years brownstone that's in chains. It's not that I would have embarrassed the CCNY by refusing to have my name placed on it, but be hardly a place that I'd be campaigning for them to put my name on it. As far as receiving any benefits, it's too late to ask you to read the findings, because it's abundantly clear that council, after 2 years, said there was no violation of the rent stabilization law. Somebody in the press has to either read the law or contest the reporters or do something, but I'll spend a little time of that later. No, I don't think I will. I don't think it rises to the extent that reporters who lie knowingly should be responded to by me publicly, but I just say that. Council said there was no violation of rate stabilization law. As it relates to where me and my family live, there's been no violation of any law. As it relates to putting a campaign office in the same building that I was in, the lease was between the landlord and me, and if he put resident down there, if resident was down there and the papers and the charges I violated the lease, well, the testimony of my landlord would say the apartment was empty, he wanted rent, the rent was paid by the Rangel for Congress committee, he was happy, he gave permission for staff to renovate and do what campaign officers do. He had no complaints. Laws was not broken as it relates to the rent stabilization laws, and so my benefit was, it appeared as though I might have received a benefit. Read the language, please, because they don't say I received a direct benefit, but it appeared as though this arrangement was a favor or benefit to me. At no time did anybody, nor was it alleged, receive any benefits from me and the Ways and Means Committee or any piece of legislation before the House. And I guess I'm still bound by some sense of confidentiality when I ask a lawyer, because what happens in the proceedings before the statement of alleged violations cannot be discussed. But the whole idea that they would say they offered me an agreement to accept the repudiation and I didn't accept it and I arrogantly refused it,